yeah, you traveled with him, right?
Oh yeah, I went to visit him.
Yeah, that sounds really
Mic
fun.
check, mic check.
Probably a summer trip.
Yeah, he'll take you to all the hikes.
Hey,
all the trails.
it's 5 o'clock.
It's 5 o'clock and we're chatting already. We have a guest here with us today. It's Louis Chan. He's an incredible photographer. He's going to be reviewing your travel photography photos with us. So submit your photos now. And if you want a chance to win a year of Photoshop and Lightroom, don't forget to check the box to opt in. And then we can send you your redemption code if you win.
Yeah,
So,
everybody gets a 30-day free trial, which is longer than normal.
yeah, everybody does. And Louis, we've been to Thailand with you, and that's how I know you have all the hot spots for photography. You've got a ton of tips. You're very generous with them. So I wanted you here to help our whole audience as well.
You got it. I mean, we had tons of fun in Thailand. I mean, I just totally forgot about shooting for a little bit because we were just all chatting.
Yeah.
We were all chatting and eating, which is like our second hobby. So
It's pictures, food, and then if it's raining, just go back to food, right?
yeah, on repeat, on the loop. And then we also have Chris Reddy here, and he is calling through your photos and your comments. So if you have any questions or comments,
Hey, Chris.
talk to Chris.
Hey, how's everybody?
We're doing well. How are you, Chris?
I'm fantastic.
Good.
Oh, good.
Don't laugh at me, Justin. Jeez. Gonna hurt my feelings.
Don't let Justin get
Or
to you.
not.
He's a cruel man.
I just wanted to really quickly scroll through Louis's portfolio.
Oh, yeah. It's
just
stunning.
look at his shots. Just as we scroll through, this is why we brought Louis on. His work is really, really remarkable.
And
Thank you so much.
he and Kyle Wolf shoot together. He gave us that as a print.
Yeah. Yeah, continue syncing. Okay.
You amaze us, Louis.
Look at that shot. It's gorgeous.
We've got to go up to
Really
San
amazing
Francisco
stuff.
with
The way
you.
the birds are here.
You have to come hang out with us. We
Those
have the
are
best
Louis's
vlog,
birds.
especially during like summer.
Some starscapes.
Yeah, summer would be good. Okay.
We should say who makes all this possible.
Oh, right. This show is made possible by Squarespace. Whether you need a website or a domain, you can make it happen with Squarespace. It's as easy as dragging and dropping. They have beautiful designer templates. Tony and I have one, and we love it, genuinely. So if you'd like to try Squarespace for a 14-day free trial, no credit card needed, go to squarespace.com/Tony and use the coupon code PORTFOLIO. Thanks, Squarespace.
Yeah, thank you, Squarespace. There it is. And if you want to send your portfolio in for review, visit sdp.io/link, and we will take a look at it during the live show. Possibly, maybe, probably. It's looking pretty good.
I use Squarespace. It's really good. I just dumped like half my portfolio in there because I haven't updated the website since like last year. And I just did like 2 hours for the show and it's ready now. So
I know. Isn't it so nice that you can just really quickly update it so you can keep it fresh? I do that all the time. You can switch the whole template out. Yeah, your website looked awesome. So take Louis's advice and use Squarespace. Okay, while you're sending your photos in, you want to go through some news and then we can start looking at people's pictures?
Sure.
Okay.
We have some news.
Oh, did you want to plug this coupon code?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You can go to northrop.photo. That's our store. And we're doing 25% off of everything. And that's books, t-shirts, like you name it. Use the coupon code LLAMA25. Really
That's
cool.
a good deal.
Yeah. Okay.
Next week, our theme is dramatic lighting.
Yeah, I should have just used Louis's picture again because that one was very dramatic.
That is something you've really figured out is dramatic lighting.
But
it requires a lot of patience.
I wanted to make clear that like the lighting should be, it should stand out. It should be the thing making the photo unique. So in this case with these birds, the lighting was making the background completely black because behind them was shadow. And Louis's picture, it's like this beautiful sunset shot where the lighting's very warm and rich. So when you submit next week for your dramatic lighting shots, think that the lighting is going to steal the show. It doesn't just exist. It's especially beautiful. Okay.
Every week, we pick our favorite pictures and they get a pick in Lightroom. And then of those, we put them online and you can go to sdp.io/vote after the show is done and vote for your favorite. The person who gets the most votes is our pick of the week, and they win a prize, possibly 2 prizes. And this week, our winner was Cliff Walker.
Yeah, so last week our theme was artistic, and we loved Cliff's picture, and you did too. So
And what an awesome name.
Cliff, you're winning a $20 gift certificate to our store, and also a year of Photoshop and Lightroom. And I forgot to switch that name. Sorry about that.
Congrats, Cliff. Yeah, and as you as you send in your picture, you have the option to select that little checkbox, and if you do, then you will get a 30-day free trial of Lightroom and Photoshop. Okay, we have some news. The guy from Hasselblad stopped by our house today. Brought over the X1D.
Yeah.
With the full travel kit, which is their full set of lenses. They have 3 lenses in the kit, and they brought over the new 21 millimeter,
Not
super
for us
wide.
to keep for
We
review.
get to play with it. They don't have many. They're going to loan us one in a little bit, but that one he only let us look at. So this is super exciting. We're finally getting a chance to check it out. I know it's not a brand new camera, but it kind of is because they've had so many firmware updates that it's brand new and refreshed, and any reviews you've seen in the past are kind of outdated now because they fixed a lot of the problems that used to exist with it. So I'm excited to check that out. It looks and feels awesome. There wasn't a whole lot else in photo news this week, but Yongno announced they're doing one of these put a real lens on your iPhone kind of things. And a couple of companies have tried this. This is the YN43, which has a micro 4/3 lens, and we'll see. There's no price available or anything, but they're trying something new.
It's different.
Maybe it'll work well. And this is just a little tidbit I came up with. I love statistics,
is your own personal news
and numbers.
Okay.
And I'm always and I'm also really interested in education. And I started looking at our statistics for the long-term educational videos that we've had up for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And those videos staying the same now get far less viewing time per view on average.
So people used to watch more of the video, and now your attention spans have dwindled by 33%.
Over 5 years, attention spans have dropped by about a third. And that's not on one video. That's like across everything. And it's not just educational videos, but our funny videos too. Attention spans on YouTube, at least, are dropping like dramatically. 5 years, 33%. That means in like another 10 years, people will just click on it and then immediately click away.
Sometimes
They will watch 0 minutes.
Okay.
It's scary. It really is concerning. You want to look at some pictures?
Yes.
Okay. Let me do a first import, and maybe Chris has a question or something.
Yeah, Chris, do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, we do. We had some people kicking some questions right away. I'm starting with my first portrait soon. I already have a model. I have a D750. Any recommendations for first shoots in natural light?
First shoots in natural light. It would be good to have someone with you to help you bounce the light. If you have a reflector, those can be helpful in natural light. And really take the time to pose and look at your pictures. Since it's your first one, there are a lot of mistakes where the hand is awkward, or maybe you didn't notice they have a hairband around their wrist. So take some time, don't rush. Look at your photos and make sure that you're not missing some huge, glaring, obvious thing that's going to ruin your picture. And having a second person present will help you do that. Maybe they'll monitor the hair or the pose. It's a lot to take on for one person. Lewis, do you have any tips? You've done some shoots with models before.
I have. So I would say if you're doing natural light, I really like backlit. So that means putting the light source behind the subject, which makes the background completely blown out. So exposed for the face. If the background is absolutely, like gonna have to be blown out, you're gonna have some difficulty with focusing. So just make sure your focus is sharp, landing on the eye, and not, landing on the nose or, some parts of the face. So that's really important.
Yeah, and it can depend. I like backlighting too. It can depend which lens you're using because some of them are terrible with backlighting and there's chromatic aberration all over. So you'll have to experiment with your gear and the lighting. Were you going to say something, Chris?
Yeah, I've got a good question for Lewis here. There's a travel question. Traveling with a camera gear is hard. This is from Greg Smith. Have you come across any camera bags that fit well under an airplane seat that do a good job protecting a DSLR and several lenses?
So that has been one of the biggest challenges for me. I'm pretty sure it's for all the photographers. There's no one bag that fits everything that you need and be able to fit, under the seat. So I would say right now I currently use a Low Pro. It's just a camera that I shoot with the mirrorless. So my kit size is rather small compared to a giant DSLR that has like a D810 or D850. So I can go ahead and fit some of those. But I would suggest try to pare down some of your lens choices. If it's a maybe for the lens, don't bring it. If it's a must, then you bring those, right? So usually I use zoom ranges. I have a 16-35, 24-70, 70-200, and sometimes I can forego the 16-35 and just shoot panoramas if I need it a little bit wider.
Sweet.
Those are good tips.
Yeah, good advice.
I've learned to travel light too, Lewis. I used to try to bring everything, and I'd end up leaving it in the room because I wouldn't want to carry a 40-pound backpack all around. You end up walking 10, 20 miles on a trip per day, so it can be a lot. And same thing, I use zooms.
Exactly. So I would say if it's a maybe, don't bring it. If you're going to use it maybe once, just think real hard. Is it going to be a portfolio shoot? Is it something that you plan that's like a definite must, a lens that you need? Then you bring it, right? If it's not, just leave it at home.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at some pictures. Our theme this week is travel photos. These are pictures that people have sent in. I like this picture. It's kind of a slice of life. These people eating coconuts. I just wish I had a little more contrast in it. I think we could maybe get a little closer to like pick a single subject. There's kind of a lot going on in the scene.
Yeah, maybe a little tighter crop would be better.
Yeah. A landscape shot.
Yeah, I'm guessing this is near Phoenix.
I like the processing on this. It's different.
Yeah, I like it too. I think the clouds make it interesting.
What do you think, Lewis?
This is a nice panorama. One thing I'll say is usually with a lot of travel pictures, you get to this vantage point and you shoot this amazing vista of like landscape. It's really nice to put a subject to show scale, so you can see how big that landscape is. So for example, if you just put a person in front of you, or if you have like a little tree that is prominent that we can kind of tell how big that vista is, then that brings more detail and layers into the image.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I've been in front of beautiful, sprawling landscapes, and you take a shot and you just can't tell the scale, so it doesn't have the same feeling. But once you find a way to get some depth and scale in the photo, then suddenly people looking at the picture can start to feel the same thing you did when you were there.
I also say when I'm looking at travel photos, I'm going to specifically look for elements that tell me where it is, trying to capture things that are unique to that place.
I can't tell where this is.
And
where is that one?
Well, here I think the cacti here are a really unique element, whereas this brush, which is just right in the front, could be anywhere. So you could put the cacti in the foreground and maybe tell a little bit more about it. Like this whole half of the picture doesn't really say much unique, but like this little section there kind of did.
Yeah. Do you like the big Phoenix sign? Did that clue you in?
Yeah, exactly. So here I think the flag helps identify kind of where it is, and the architecture is a little bit unique, though I don't immediately recognize the flag.
Yeah, neither do I.
I always like to see these level a little bit, especially when they have these like strong vertical lines. So just go ahead and I hit the R key just to level that out.
You got that auto level eye thing going on, Northrop.
Yeah, and if you can turn on the little level in your camera, that helps me so much. Saves you some megapixels. Oh, look.
Oh, what's the first thing you're thinking here, Lewis? Lay it on us.
I like the landscape. I like the layers that you got going on. You got the water in the foreground, and then you got those huts in the middle, and then the sky. There's not too much going on with the top part of the sky, so you can probably bring it down a little bit and crop in. That will probably help. And you might want to get a little bit more contrast, maybe like darken the foreground a little bit, so your eye leads into the huts, which are the main focal point of this picture.
Good feedback.
Yeah, maybe we could simplify it, like get a little closer to a subject.
Yeah.
So this feels like kind of like street photography.
Some locals along the way.
Yeah.
I'm just exposing for their faces a little bit more, brightening it up.
But they have great expressions. The crop is a little bit weird for me, but yeah, I might even go a little tighter and just focus on their faces a little more.
Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking, Lewis?
I think the expressions are really good. I can't really see the metadata. It's f11. For this kind of scenario, you can kind of maybe shoot at like, f4 or f2.8 if you have this is f4 lens, so you can go to f4 because you're at ISO 400, get a little cleaner image and blur the background a little bit so you can get more of that separation for the
Yeah.
foreground and background.
Yeah, good suggestion. There's also like a weird tint to it. This is just straight up overexposed.
Let's see if we can bring it down a little bit.
This looks like a ring shot, kind of something wedding photographers have to do. But yeah, it's just a little bit blown out. And I see they're trying to put some context in there. Maybe that's...
Well, what's going on? Because this is applying edits already before we touch it. Did you see that? This is all like zeroed out now, and it looks much better. So those edits automatically went in.
It was almost like a stop above or something, right?
Oh, that's really weird.
That is very strange.
Yeah.
Did you have an import preset on?
I don't.
I sure hope not. What? It has a crop too?
This already cropped?
What is going on?
What is going on? So I'm just going to straighten that a little bit. Okay. I like the context without being distracting.
I'm just going to make sure we...
What is happening?
Reset all. We've had a lot of things breaking for no particular reason. Like our synchronization just suddenly stopped, though it had worked for like 4 years. I just hit Control-Shift-R. Let me see. All right.
Do you have any questions for us, Chris?
Yeah, I got a good question here. When shooting travel locations, this is from Tommy Papa. For instance, the Golden Gate, Acropolis in Greece. Better to include people or try and shoot just location?
You want to take this one, Lewis?
Do both.
Yeah.
So I would say it depends on the lighting. So basically, when I look for travel images, I like to compose in a few different ways. You can shoot a iconic location and it'll look like a million other pictures, right? And that's great. You can collect stamps, but you want to also include elements like follow the rule of thirds, rule of space, get a little bit of contrasting colors. Like for example, the Golden Gate Bridge is, it has a bright red, orange kind of color. So if it's like a sunrise or a sunset, it won't really pop out because it kind of have the same kind of color. But if it's midday or if it's like golden hour, then you're going to get that color contrast. And if you put a subject in front of it, I've seen so many pictures with a subject in front of it that makes this picture completely unique. So you want to get a subject or some kind of leading line or some kind of S-curve in your image. That will make it much more interesting.
Yeah, I agree. You don't want to get the same shot that every other person gets. This is being crazy.
Yeah, I have no idea why, but it has applied a bunch of settings to all these photos. And when I overwrite the settings, it does not take.
Well, that's fine. I mean, while Tony's figuring it out, I would say that we have a group at Stunna on Instagram, and Kyle and I will be featuring the winners of every week, photos that are shown on the live show. So go ahead and follow us, and also put your images on Instagram so we can find it. Some of the images that have won in the live show, we couldn't find it on Instagram, so we weren't able to feature it. So we would definitely like to do that. So follow us, tag us. Just look at all the work all the stunners have to offer.
Yeah. Just for some context, Tony and I started using the hashtag stunners on Insta because we call people that have our book stunners, stunning digital photography. And Lewis and Kyle Wolf were kind enough to make a page that they could feature some of the best photos from that hashtag. So if you have a picture that you want to share, tag it with hashtag stunners on Insta, and they'll be able to look through and see. Yeah. Okay, let's look, Tony. We can undo stuff as we go.
Yeah.
This is the way it goes, Lewis. It's like something can be running perfectly, and then the next live show, it's got to give us trouble.
Got a question for you here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Any travel photos that you guys clearly remember taking and why? You remember, you were at that location. Oh, I got that shot.
Oh, yes. Sometimes if you look at the back of the camera, you go, oh, yeah, I nailed that shot, right? Like you definitely know. And sometimes Jim, he took a picture in Myanmar when he was with me last year. And he had this amazing picture that he processed, but he didn't really know that was an image that like a portfolio worthy image that he had because it was like a little bit overexposed, a little bit under contrast. So yeah, there are images definitely where I know. For example, that my portfolio shot in Japan when I took the Chureito Pagoda with the Fuji in the background with the cherry blossom, that was definitely a planned shot. So I definitely know I got that shot when I took that.
I've had moments where it's like a place is so beautiful that I just have goosebumps, and I know that if I can capture it, it's going to make other people feel the same thing. And Machu Picchu was one of those moments for me where we just got this beautiful mist in the air so that you could see the light streaming through the mountains, and you just like want to be in that moment forever.
I was going to say Machu Picchu too.
Yeah.
It was so beautiful. It's one of those times when you're like running. Like, I need to get as many different vantage points because I know this is fleeting. I know in 2 minutes it's all going to change and be gone forever.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I think we can look at
like
pictures now.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give this one a pick from Ario Smith, though, you know, it's hard to call it a travel photo. It doesn't tell me much about the location, but it is just gorgeous, right? The reflection and the haze adding so much depth, and the fact that there's so much separation between the tree in the foreground being very dark and the background being so light. Gorgeous.
I mean, this image is it's just perfect. It uses the rule of thirds, rule of space. It has depth. It has layers. I like this. I mean, this is also one of the well-known iconic locations. I think it's called the Wakana tree, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Wanaka tree. Sorry.
Yeah, that was beautiful. This is a different part of travel. My least favorite part of travel, but I love the leading lines, the repetitive pattern of those posts. What do you think, Lewis?
I think this is nice. It conveys that, you know, you're traveling, you're kind of waiting around. I like the blur that you have in the background. It's that separates out the subject, which is the lady just sitting there, kind of being on her iPhone, waiting around. Yeah.
Yeah, and they have delts in the background, which I thought about cropping up, but that tells the story of where they are. And if you look at the seats too, you get like this nice V that she's framed in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that shot.
Yeah. Ian Knight, Travel Long Beach.
The subject is so dead center. I kind of wish the composition were a little more interesting. Maybe if it were a little bit tighter, like most of the frame is just water.
Sometimes it could be hard to get shots of, compositions when you're just traveling and trying to move around. It's hard, so, especially with something like this. You won't necessarily have another chance to frame it and shoot it again.
Yeah.
So you're just quickly getting the settings right, shooting. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes you just grab it, but sometimes you can just wait and something else will come through.
So I think also that he added yellow to the reflections, and it's just a little too yellowy to me. I would just kind of play with the colors a little bit. But yeah.
Good shot, Ian.
Anticipation.
It doesn't read emotional to me at all. Like, I don't sense that he's excited about it. It just seems like a kid walking. And nor do I have any sense for where he is.
Thoughts, Lewis?
I think, I can't really see. There you go. So I would say the sky is a little blown out. I mean, it's a really nice composition. You got this bridge with a boat going on. It's really nice elements. Maybe bring like a graduated ND filter and bring down the highlights in the sky a little bit, and that will fix some of the issues.
So I think you saw it when I edited it, because if you look at this version here, it's very dark.
It's very dark, yes.
So you could bring up the foreground.
Yes.
Yeah,
one
that's
tip
perfect.
that I will give for editing the sky, especially with the ND filter in Lightroom, is not to adjust the exposure too much. If you're going to balance the exposure, try to use the highlight more than the exposure, because if you just change the exposure indiscriminately, if you have subjects that are peeking through that middle horizon that you're adjusting over, it will become darker, right? Then you just have this weird dark, fringing on top.
Yeah, good suggestion. All right, kind of a classic scene.
Why is there always construction going on at the most beautiful places?
There always is, and
How
this
do you
place
deal
is
with that,
always so
Lewis?
crowded.
What do you do if you show up somewhere and there's unexpected scaffolding, or that terrible thing they do where they just cover it and a tarp, and you're like, no. What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, I deal with this all the time. We had an earthquake, unfortunately, in Myanmar a couple of years ago, and a lot of the temples were damaged. So they had scaffoldings and all these tarps when we visited last year. So one way to deal with that is if you shoot during sunset or with a backlit, it's kind of like in silhouette, so you can't really see it. But there isn't much other way to go around it. Or if it's like a scaffolding, you can get up close to it, see if there's any workers, working on it. You can probably get a better composition that way. To use the scaffolding as a composition element.
Make it a story. Okay.
Or you could just clone it out. I would just take a copy of this and stick it over there.
Oh my gosh.
That's what one of the people in the chat said. Just clone the one on the left.
I know specifically with the Taj Mahal, you need to get there as soon as they open the doors if you want it not completely packed with people. Another alternative would be to slap an ND filter on there and just do like a 30-second exposure midday and try to make the people ghostly. Like they're not going to go away, but at least they won't be quite so distracting.
They don't allow tripods there, so that might be a little hard.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So have you been there?
I have, yes. I went there last December. It was
been everywhere.
It was nice, but there's so many people, so you just have to go really early. Yes.
Okay. I check you don't necessarily need polarizing or ND filters video because I actually have a technique that you can do handheld that can simulate some of that.
Oh, yes.
30 seconds would be tough with that technique, but you could get something.
You're a very stable person, so you could just stand there.
Yeah, I need to try to teach my hand-holding techniques. I don't know what it is, but okay. Beautiful shot of the stars. Again, this doesn't tell me anything about the location, but I think it's a nice astrophotography shot.
Yes.
Maybe we should just try to jump forward and find some shots that really say travel to us. Like
this.
Yeah, probably Venice, right? I can't say
I
for
thought
sure,
I thought this was where we live.
Or New Orleans in the spring.
Oh boy.
Yeah. This is nice. I think this is shot with a slightly wider angle. So you got these like lines that are a little bit distorted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you accept that, or do you go back and try to fix it in post?
Yeah. So usually what I do is I'd go to the bottom of the Lightroom. There's a transform tool, and I try to line it up. So one tip I'll give you is sometimes, especially with architecture or any kind of wide angle or all these pictures that you might be pointing up to shoot or pointing lower to shoot a little wider, because when you use the transform tool, you're going to lose a little bit of the edges. Mm-hmm. So you might get cropped in a little bit. So shoot a little wider. And then when you do the transform tool, you'll have more of the information to play with.
This is literally one click in Lightroom, just so you know. Like the auto does a pretty good job.
Oh, that's pretty good.
It didn't overdo it.
But you do lose a little bit. So you're right, Louis. You have to shoot a bit wider.
That's a nice shot. I'm looking for like some travel shots to wow. He's cute.
Cute and scary.
They're traveling, but okay. A little bit of storytelling in here with his boots being in the scene. I think that's cool. It makes it a little bit more than just a landscape shot.
Yeah.
The date in the corner, I'm shook. Is this like taken with a disposable camera or something? I haven't seen that in like 20 years.
Tony's shook. Cool. Good storytelling. This doesn't feel like travel.
Yeah, I mean, definitely have a sense for where it is.
What do you think, Louis?
I think this picture would be perfect if you just had a lady with a red dress right there on the third. But this is a really nice scene. You got leading lines going through. You got layers. You got a nice looking sky. If you get a subject in there, this will be perfect.
Yeah, just have some patience. Just wait 20 minutes, and 10 things will come through, and one of them will be the most interesting one, and then that's your shot. If you can wait an hour there. It's a nice scene.
Or you can just tap on someone's shoulder with a really nice shirt and say, "Hey, can you go stand over there really quick?"
Could you put on this red dress?
Travel with
I know this is weird. It sounds weird, but it's not. This is pretty. I like the colors. I like the vibe.
This castle, I found it really hard to capture because it's just kind of massive and sprawling. I will make a technical suggestion. You're at ISO 4000 and 1/30th, and I bet you could handhold that at like 1/5. But at least try it at like 1/10 and just keep going slower and slower and take a bunch of pictures, and you'll get one that's pretty sharp at a lower ISO and a slower shutter speed. Get it a little cleaner. Oh, this person has traveled far.
I'm going to go past
far away.
All right, here's one of Amsterdam. Have you been there, Louis?
I have not.
Oh man, you got to go to Amsterdam. It's such an easy trip. Well, not for you. You're on the West Coast.
It's a little bit further for me.
Yeah.
I like this. I like the lights. What do you think, Louis?
I like the lights. I like that it's almost blue hour. So wait just a little longer. There'll be more lights that come on, and you will be able to get the blue with the lights, so you get this nice contrast. So maybe even if you like underexpose it a little bit, just drop the exposure, and bring it in neutral density filter and bring down the highlights on the top. It will give you this more color contrast, which is one of those things that I really like. You get this super blue sky, and then you get these really nice yellow lights in the city lights.
And I like a tighter crop on it too.
Yeah.
Are we going to give picks? Because I think we only give one.
Oh yeah, the first.
That makes for an uninteresting contest.
Yeah,
that
we're
one
definitely
person
giving
must
picks.
be like, oh.
This is pretty much street photography. I think the hard part about travel photography is it seems like travel photography, if it's taken someplace where you aren't from.
Can I just say, why is everyone in this picture a model? Look, he's like, yes, you girl. And then he's like a stock model, and he's like a cologne model.
Yeah, that guy is totally posing back
He's
there.
thinking.
This is like a lifestyle shoot.
The expressions are just fantastic.
Yes.
I mean, you'll see that when you're traveling. It's just like, who is this guy with a camera taking pictures of us?
Yeah, and I love the colors on his shirt and the headband he's got there. I like
guy.
that shot.
Yeah.
I like this shot just for this gentleman.
I wouldn't be afraid just to shut the aperture down even further, though. It'd be nice if everybody was in focus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'd probably, again, call it like a landscape shot. But I think it's nice. I think it's over-processed. I would definitely back off on that. The kind of HDR techniques to recover the sun have resulted in kind of a washed-out photo. And like we suggested earlier, probably gradual ND either on your camera or in post. I'd just do it in post.
What are your thoughts, Lewis?
I think this is a really nice landscape image. Sometimes when you're traveling, you get to these spots and you go, okay, all right, I'm going to take this shot, and you get this nice clouds. I would say for that specific image, try to have a little more of a subject, or if you want to get the reflection more accentuated, get lower to the ground, get lower to the puddles, and you'll be able to get much more of a reflection, and that will be like more of a prominent part of your picture, so you can get more of a focal point where your eye can stay at one spot. Right now, my eyes are moving a little bit, but it is a really great scene.
Yeah, it is a great scene, and I agree with you. It's hard to rest your eyes, but I like the long exposure. That was a nice touch.
It's fantastic, yes.
We'll look at another picture and go to a portfolio.
I'm going to give them a pick.
Okay, you're right. We have to be a little more generous today.
Yeah.
Okay. Whoa, look at this one.
I know who this is. This is one of my friends. He just went to Iceland, and he's got these amazing shots. Dita, yes. And he got this nice waterfall with the Borealis.
It's so sharp.
This guy won the lottery on this, right?
Yeah, you get a pick, and just the way the Aurora Borealis is like framing the waterfall, the shot's amazing.
This is amazing.
Yeah, he's got the leading lines going in from the sides. You got the waterfall, long exposure. You got the Aurora Borealis. You got this really nice layering going on with the foreground to the midground to the background.
Is he going to kill me if I crop this some? Because I feel like...
I don't think he'll kill you, but... Wait, you're cropping?
Yeah, I feel like we could simplify this composition a little bit. I didn't mean to do that.
You're out of control, sir. Lewis, is there any stopping this man?
I don't think so.
Crazy.
I liked it before. You're losing the whole shape of the Aurora.
Yeah, I think he wanted to keep the Aurora shape, so I think that's what he wanted.
Yeah, I like that too. I agree with the artist.
I don't care what any of you want.
You're a monster.
You know what? Maybe I think this is a square.
No.
Will work here. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Why are you doing this to me and Lewis?
I'm sorry. I'm making so many adjustments.
Lewis.
There it is. You're welcome.
No, you lost the whole leading line of the river.
It was too much. It was too much.
Tony's sabotaging you because he's jealous.
Why don't you take a question while I look up somebody's portfolio.
Lewis, let's just recover from that.
Yeah.
What just happened, that massacre that we just witnessed, and we'll go to Chris with a question.
Oh, yes.
So the question is, and this is, will you make this a poll? This is from Kenny Telfer. Tony carries his camera on his shoulder instead of around your neck. Which is your guys' preference?
I do it over the neck because it can slide off your shoulder and someone can pull it off of your shoulder. How about you, Lewis?
I I do two things. So I usually have a strap on. So if I am just like moving things around, I put it on my neck. I have a neck strap, and I have this Peak Design backpack clip that I put on my backpack because usually I'm always wearing my backpack. So I just just clip it right onto my backpack strap that sits right on my chest. That's really nice.
Tony does that too, and
yeah, that's what I do almost all the time. That person's wrong.
I actually am against that as the short wife because he'll turn around and hit me in the face with his camera. And I literally get angry. I'm like, I also want to clarify, I don't put it around my neck. I put it over one side, like across. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good tip.
I think that's easier if you're smaller too.
Yeah. It kind of distributes the weight a little bit better.
Yeah. We have two portfolios we can look at. Which one of these two do you want to see?
We looked at that other one last week. So this one.
Oh, we did. Okay.
Yeah.
Really
I think we did.
Oh.
Any other questions, Chris, while we get into this?
At first, I was a little baffled by the user interface because I don't see arrows here to tell me that I need to browse through. So you could make an update to that. Let's flip through here.
Okay.
Oh, man. These pictures are gorgeous, though.
Whoa. Those are nice.
This is a really strong portfolio. Wow.
Yes.
This portfolio, the pictures are very strong. I want to get your opinion on this, Louis. What do you think of the gray background? Do you think white would be better?
I think for this specific type of images, I think the white background would be really nice because a lot of the images that you have will contrast with the white background a lot better than the gray background.
Yeah, I think that the gray kind of steals some attention from the photos. White is just really nice and crisp. People do black as well, but I feel like black is a little bit dated right now. I think white is the style for a background.
I mean, it depends on the image.
Is this the same tree?
If you have mostly really high key images, a dark background would be pretty good. But for landscape shots, I think generally a white background is pretty suitable.
Look, go back a few. Look at this photo.
Yeah, I'm skipping through a lot of just spectacular photos.
I love the foreground and
this is fantastic. So you have like the foreground element, your eye can rest on it, and then you have this really nice background with mountain range. This is just amazing, and you got really nice clouds going on.
No. I also like that he let the flowers just break this line right here, adding depth to the photo. It would have been easy for him to put them below that horizon line, and then we wouldn't have got that same depth. That's a beautiful landscape photo. What were you doing, Tony?
I just want to look at the thumbnails because I know there are a lot of pictures here.
Wow.
And I want to make some, these are fantastic. I think this picture could go. The swan picture isn't of the same strength. This pelican picture can probably go.
So you're saying pare it down a little bit, just show the best of the best.
Yeah. So let's pick one bear picture, and it's probably this one. That's an awesome bear picture. This is
that one's awesome.
Really cute picture.
Oh, cute.
This one not as strong. So this one can definitely go.
Wow.
Whoa. Oh man. Yeah, we were just talking about bobcats.
Ouch.
Yeah.
But like,
nature is cruel.
One hummingbird picture, pick your favorite. But overall, this is a really strong portfolio.
So many fantastic shots.
Too many.
Louis, we should travel with this guy.
Oh yeah,
bears.
totally.
I think I'd get eaten by a bear because I travel with too many snacks.
Too many snacks. Oh yes.
Skylar, wow.
There's Skylar.
You are like just an ambitious man, I can tell.
Well, look, he's like award-winning.
Like with National Geographic at the bottom.
Wow.
Oh, man.
I would break...
Awesome work, Skylar.
As a person with the attention span of a puppy, I would break some of this up. Let me just show the About Skylar page. So...
Oh, these are a lot of words, yeah.
A little bit about you, right? It looks like you've won several awards. I would just do awards, break it down into bullet points. That's actually pretty standard for artist pages.
Yeah, show the little icon or graphic or whatever for the award.
Yeah.
And, 4 words about it. And kind of lead with that.
Just chunking. Put the information all in their own separate little zones, and it makes it easier to process all the information. And then...
And look, you can buy some prints. Every Squarespace website comes with some type of store, but you can also make cool stores like this, and it'll integrate right in and just like end up in your bank account. It makes it really easy to
contact. Sure. I like that he left his email, so you don't have to go through all this if that's not your thing.
Yeah, I would probably just drop your email in the about page and lose the contact page.
So,
period. Who fills out those forms anyway, right?
Amazing pictures. Let's sum this up. Incredible pictures. Your website is simple and easy to navigate. We just said just pare down a few, consider a white background. Look at his Instagram. The white background looks really nice there.
I wanted to look at it, but it wants me to log in. Oh, man. Okay, I'll go back. I just wanted to follow him really quickly. Man, so these are his more current pictures.
Yeah.
Okay, Siler's crushing it. Let's see what Siler had to say about Squarespace. I tried out a number of portfolio building websites and ended up loving Squarespace. I was able to make my site appear exactly how I wanted it without having any experience in web design. I know Lewis and I are both big nerds, but you don't have to be a big nerd like us.
Why would you say
to
that?
make a Squarespace website. Do you identify as a nerd?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah,
And,
me too.
I mean, I can go through the whole process of creating a website, but I just decided not to deal with it. So I just use Squarespace.
I know. Isn't it nice to have other nerds doing the hard stuff for you for once?
Well, you don't have to be a nerd to make a Squarespace. I couldn't build a website if I wanted to, but I can drag and drop, so I can make a Squarespace.
And by
It's
the
really
way,
easy. You can change anything. Yeah.
I'm sorry to make you feel left out, Chris. Chris Reddy,
It's okay.
also a nerd.
Justin,
I
how do you
forgot nerd.
identify?
I definitely have like nerd tendencies for
Yeah,
Oh,
Justin's on the
tendencies
nerd
myself.
spectrum, but
Yeah, I'm not on like the.
I
nerd level.
identify as very, very cool. Almost painfully cool.
if you're cool or a nerd, go to squarespace.com/Tony, sign up for a 14-day free trial. If you love it, which you will, you can use the coupon code portfolio and get yourself 10% off. You don't have to put a credit card in before then, so they're not going to try to like sneak one in on you or anything like that. Let's look at some chit chat, why don't we?
I thought that going to his Instagram kind of demonstrated why a portfolio can be so great, because his pictures looked good on Instagram, but having that full screen portfolio experience, you get immersed in the photos and you can really appreciate them.
Yeah, and you see just the best work, not your most recent work.
Lewis, do you mind if we take a moment to do chit chat?
Absolutely.
Are
go
you
ahead.
on board with this? Do you ever write nasty comments online?
But you'll never know. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just,
You have another name and you come on and trash talk us. You're like, Chelsea said she's cool, but she's actually a nerd.
I mean, don't give me good ideas.
Renee says, while they go and pixel peep photos, I'll go out and shoot some. That's a good idea. You should take photos.
I just wanted to point out that that's not what Renee was doing. Renee was watching our pixel peeping video
And then
taking some
commenting.
time to write angry comments.
Oh, dang.
Busted, Renee.
Busted. 380 Stroker says everyone's having problems in the comment section because they rely on reflective metering by using the histogram. Bad.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Only idiots use histograms. Do you agree with that, Lewis?
Lewis.
I don't trust the back of my camera, especially because I have all these brightness settings. And if you're in the sunlight, there's a thing that makes it really bright, and I don't trust it because it oversaturates my images, gives me like really bad contrast. I think you know what I'm talking about, Justin, on the A7R2.
Definitely,
on the
yeah.
A7R3. Yeah, but on the histogram, it's perfect. Like I can look at the histogram. I know if it's not blown out, it's perfect. If, I look at the shadows.
Do
I look
you
at the
use an
highlights.
incident meter or regular reflective metering?
It,
Do you travel with a light meter? Is that in your bag?
if that's a maybe, like I said, it's not going to be in there.
No, nobody uses incident meters.
He does.
It's all about through the lens metering. And no, only idiot. Everybody who uses a histogram is not automatically an idiot 380 stroker. It's just a ridiculous statement.
Oh, you got dissed. Okay. Andy Good says, I want to know how they fitted Tony's great big brain into what appears to be a normal size head. You put this in there, so where are you going with this?
I am just so honored and flattered to find out that somebody thinks I have a normal sized head.
One time we measured and your head is as big around as my waist.
Yeah, this is absolutely true. Remember that time you dragged me into a cool hat shop in Manhattan? And the guy went through his entire collection and did not have a single hat in a hat store. He didn't have a single hat that would fit my huge head.
Look,
I have the same problem.
you know,
Really?
guys, I'm not
You're not-
surprised because there's a correlation between intelligence and head size. And so you guys just have big brains in there.
Well, thank you. But there's a downside in that marching band really sucked because they didn't have a hat big enough for me, but they made me wear a hat anyway. So I had to cram it on my head and it left big
Just
welts.
admitted to being in the marching band.
I said earlier I was a nerd. This is not, I'm not incognito about that.
He also had a leather jacket that we found when we moved, but it was because he was a mathlete.
And also banned. I double
sports.
lettered.
He double lettered. He was a mathlete. Literally, that's not a joke. Felix says, fun fact, Tony's hair is actually a tinfoil wig. We did a video on if drones are spying on us. You should check it out, but people think Tony's a conspiracy theorist, apparently.
I definitely get deep into conspiracies. I believe some of them. I think the world is spherical and we landed on the moon, and I know I'm enraging lots of real conspiracy theorists, but I like to study that stuff. People lie all the time.
This guy said Tony looks like Ethan Klein, so I looked up who that was, and this was the first picture. I see it.
Yeah, he's like one of the top 5 YouTubers. He's like a really big deal.
I know. I realized that after. I didn't know. Yeah. I don't know what kind of...
You see it?
He's making a funny face. He doesn't even really look like that. Yeah. Okay, Lewis, let's look at some more pictures.
All right. Fantastic.
Sorry, we got this talented guy here, and we're just goofing off, talking about Tony's giant head.
This shot's gorgeous, right?
What do you think, Lewis?
I like this. Is this cropped in a little bit? Is the antenna cut off on the tower?
That is what they sent us, and I was upset tremendously by that. I know the cropping might have ended up weirder if they left the whole antenna in because it's super high because they wanted to make some record or something.
But I like this. Are you going to take it out?
This I can't agree with. This is wrong.
This is just wrong ethically, right?
Thank you, Peter Lick.
Dang.
Tony, this is going to be a new meme, and it starts here.
Okay, well, that was just to demonstrate what it would be like if there was not something creeping off the frame. I don't expect you to do that, but you can.
Really I like the towers and all the the V shape that is creating. Maybe center it a little bit, and give me the antenna. Maybe it might be a little hard because there might be buildings on the left that might be hard to compose.
Okay, Rapoko Pavilion. I wish this is the main subject, and there's not a lot of separation between it and the background. Like they're about the same brightness level. This background is very complex and detailed. If you could have kicked it out of focus in some way, probably impossible at this focal length, but I like what you're doing with the lines kind of leading in here. I also would love to see like somebody coming out of one of these doors, just one extra thing.
What do you think, Lewis? You gotta ask Lewis. He's
I know, I just...
I like this image. Like Tony said, I agree. I think a subject would be really nice coming out of the background. I mean, that's the focal point. Maybe crop in a little bit. That might be a little better so that you don't see that bottom line on the bottom. That's a little bit awkward for me.
You know what? I'd like to see this location on a foggy day.
Oh, yes, totally.
You're feeling me.
Here's a 3.2 second exposure. It kind of illustrates what I was talking about earlier, just a useful technique for hiding movement. I want to kind of keep moving, though, because we have to leave because we have kickball.
Kickball. It's going to be the end of us. Ooh, Lewis, there's a person.
That's it. It shows scale, right? This is fantastic. I really like this image.
This is disorienting because this is the sky, but it's the same color as the ice.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, sometimes it might be hard when you're traveling because you might not get there at the right time. This will be really nice at golden hour when the light is just peering through and you get this nice dynamic lighting where you might just get a backlit or just a lighting just on the person, right? Yeah,
great suggestion. And how savage is that lady not wearing any sleeves?
Wow.
Yeah, she's tough.
Oh, wow. That's a gorgeous landscape.
Lewis, tell us your thoughts.
That is amazing. I really like the road that's leading through the frame. It gives me a focal point to work in, and then the sun is there, so that's a really nice focal point. I mean, like I said, I keep saying scale, right? I think a person on the bottom left would be just really nice. But this is overall a really nice landscape.
I also think it'd be a great shot for long exposures, like star shots with the cars kind of making light trails through.
Yeah, one thing I would say is with any kind of roads like this, I will wait for a long time. I'll probably come back and I'll say, okay, all right, this is a nice road, and I will wait for blue hour or a little bit darker. I'll shoot a frame at sunset or a blue hour, and then I'll blend it in with the cars that are going through. So you get this nice car trail, and maybe I'll just wait for the astro time too, so I get these like nice star trails that are coming in.
So Lewis,
so it could be a nice blended shot.
When you're traveling, do you go for quality over quantity? You'd rather go back to the same place at a better hour and make sure you get that good shot instead of trying to get a picture of everything?
Yes, it's so for me, since I travel sometimes alone or sometimes with a very small group of people, a lot of the time with photographers, I usually like to have one image a day. So that means I will plan my shoot and I'll say, okay, all right, we're going to this specific place at this time, and hopefully the weather works out. If it doesn't, we'll try again the next day. So we really plan our shoots.
That's good advice. I think a lot of people try to capture every exciting or beautiful thing they see, and they end up with a lot of just moderately good photos instead of really putting in the time and getting that excellent photo.
But it's also a little hard when you're traveling with like family or kids. You can't really go at the right time, like sunset. They are hungry. You want to have dinner. So you might not get the right light. One suggestion for that, Kyle Wolf told me yesterday, is to go at sunrise. So like wake up early and then just get there. And then you have the same kind of lighting, maybe from a different direction, right? So you'll have a nicer image for that. And by the time you come back from sunrise, everyone is still sleeping. So
yeah. That's what Tony does when we would travel with our daughter when she was young. He would wake up early and then he'd go out and I'd stay with Madeline.
Yeah, I'd grab a Starbucks and go get my shots.
Yeah.
We have to head out, but I wanted to end on this, what I thought was a really great picture. It might be a little over-processed. I'd back off on that a little bit, but the fog and the colors and the birds going through the frame really add up to something really special, as well as just a really simple composition. You give it a pick.
Did we pick that other really beautiful photo?
This is really
Which
nice.
one was that?
This is really nice. I'm giving this a pick.
Yeah, that one's really nice
like
too.
with the winding road,
This
that
one.
one.
Pick.
Oh, okay.
Lewis, thank you so much for joining us today and
you for
all of your excellent feedback. Everyone, check out Lewis on Instagram. It's Lewis K. Chan, right?
Yes, Lewis K. Chan on Instagram.
And also, he's moderating at Stunners on Insta. So use the hashtag Stunners on Insta, and he and Kyle will be reviewing your photos, and you could get featured.
Please tag us. You will see all these stunners work. And we try to have variety on our features, so it's not always the same thing. Follow us, tag us, and we'll show your work.
Thanks so much, Lewis. And
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris, for taking all those comments and questions.
You betcha.
And of course, thank you, Justin, for being the man of many jobs.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
We'll see you all next week. Our theme is dramatic light.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Oh,
wait, our
Squarespace.
sponsor.
Jesus.
Our house blows up. That's why Justin's very concerned.
Yeah. If you want an awesome website, head to squarespace.com/Tony. You'll get a 14-day free trial. If you love it, you can use the coupon code portfolio and it'll give you 10% off. Thank you, Squarespace, for making all this possible.
Also, don't forget you can get 25% off of our stuff with the code LLAMA25.
SDP.io/store. Thanks,
Okay,
guys.
see you next week.
Bye.
I loved Justin's drama. He's like, oh, no!
Justin, that was